message. I'm gonna basically show you first a PowerPoint presentation, and I'll show you some demo interactions. From there, I'll be going over the SuperLive Plus app. So, yeah, I was explaining to you the new NVR operating system and then the app. So we're calling it the new Titanium system. The old one, we're considering it as a 3.0 GUI because all the firmware based on that was from 3.0 up to some recent equipment, 3.4.5 or 3.4.3. The Titanium versions, you'll see that it starts off as our 1.0 because it's fresh, new, it's what we want to start with. The system, as you can see, is kind of like Windows 10 based or Windows 8 if you've been playing around with that and how Windows is. We wanted to make it kind of user friendly, make it easier to kind of click and go anywhere. The reason why we call this is it's a modular design. Modular design is basically a way that wherever you are in the menu lets you access another part of the menu without going back to step one. Instead of a tree base. So if you're familiar with our 3.0, you'd have to go to main menu, then setup, then you can go to networking, and then it gets you access to the IP address and you can do the networking. With the modular design, you can see under the network page, you can go directly to the network settings and skip 2 or 3 steps. So it makes it easier, faster, and quicker to set up basically. And in case you have end users, customers, who are trying to figure this out themselves, it's readily easy to view. There's a lot of features on the bottom that have been improved and improvised. A couple features, 25 screens, you can have backup statuses, network statuses, all the information can be pulled up straight off from the live view monitor, from the front page. There's no need of going into the setup to the back end, basically, where you need to do the configuration to find out, hey, is this wrong, or is a hard drive bad, is a camera disconnected, how's the status, was there any motion detection? You can get that all through the front page. And with this, the system has a new chip. It has a new chipset that accepts the H.265 encoding. It's faster, of course. It's able to compress the data better than H.264. I won't go too much into details between H.264 and H.265, but overall, you're saving about 50 to possibly even up to 80 if you put it down to the low end of bitrate and of frame rates. All that is dependent on how you set up your frame rate, your bitrate, and the resolution you're putting in. H.264, whenever there's a movement caused, it's taking more pixel blocks, and it saves that onto the hard drive. And then from there, on an H.265, if there isn't that many pixel blocks being moved, it remembers that image and it starts increasing it. And it doesn't need to remember that image, and it keeps it there. So when it's recording, it doesn't have to refresh that image because it knows that that image hasn't changed. So in a still image, like how everybody here is sitting down, your entire block of this front row is probably going to be an entire block. And only the people who are moving outside is where it's going to change. So as an aspect to recording, that is a lot of information that is just being stilled and snapshot. The new equipment can go up to 4K output. The reason why we're putting 4K output is the other equipment, even though they said HDMI and you were putting 3 megapixel or 4 megapixel, 5 megapixel cameras, you weren't actually seeing the true resolution because 1080p only goes up to 2 megapixels, which is 1920 by 1080. 4K is basically 8 megapixel display view, and when you're putting in a 4 megapixel or 5 megapixel, you get to see the true resolution of it. You're not degrading it. You're not restricting it back down to 1080, as what some people will try and say. As you can see, this is how the new interface is going to look like. So everything's in the front. You see your camera listings for IP cameras on the right-hand side. You have groups for them. As you can see, our taskbar is on the bottom, kind of like a computer. Our settings is down here. You'll see you have shutdown, log out, your settings, backup, playback, search, your functions, everything here. Our wizard has also been improved. Now, since it's because of the NVR, in the beginning, our wizard, all familiar with 3.0, only did the network settings, the date and time, format the hard drive. But now, since we're doing the NVR, we're adding it so you can add the IP cameras on one go. You can configure more settings on the network. You can even do ahead and do the QR code based off that already. Some people are getting, confused on how the auto and manual recording settings are. There are two features on here for recording, which is auto. By default, this will set the entire equipment to 24/7 recording and motion and sensor. It's not going to be defaulted to motion like it was on our 3.0 GUI. This is because you can set at 24/7 a low resolution, low bit rate at, for an example, 720p, 7 frames. And when motion gets triggered, you can set that up to 30 frames and bump it up to 5 megapixels if it was a 5 megapixel camera. And because it's H.265, it's not going to affect so much as your storage. You can set each one individually for motion record, sensor, or a combination of both. And this will always default it to 24/7. When you set it to manual, it allows you to configure your schedule settings if you want Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to be 24/7, and Tuesday and Thursday to be motion recording. The same thing goes for here under manual recording. If you want to record 24/7 or 24/5 or 24/2, which is basically weekdays or weekends. As you can see here, in case you're adding multiple cameras, you don't know which cameras are which. Some cameras that you plug in, you take it up from other job sites and you try to put it in. You have different IP cameras and you only want to add a certain range to one NVR and a certain range to another NVR. So with this, we've added a filter condition so you can filter out cameras. So when you're adding them all together, you know which one you added and which ones you didn't. We've also added the feature to add IP cameras individually, channel per channel. So on the top right of each window, there's a plus button that allows you to pull up the adding of the IP camera. Now this is going back to modular design, because no matter where you are, you can still either add the camera, you can go on the live menu, add the camera, go to configuration, add a camera. And it's always making it easier for you to go through the menu, basically. We've added extra features for each window. Digital zooming can go up to 16 times. You have image settings, PTZ control that you can command and control. As you can see here, these are just a couple of the settings that you have. Alarm statuses, hard drive statuses, network statuses. The main thing you probably want to use the most is system information. That actually includes hard drive, networking, alarm, recording. It shows your entire status of the DVR, of how it's working, how much bandwidth it's using in just one page. So this is going back to not needing to go into the main menu to dig around and look up all that information. It allows you to quickly access that type of information from the front page. And this is also good for the customer in case the customer wants to kind of feedback towards you, hey, my hard drive isn't working, just go to the bottom right, click to information, and it tells you if there's a hard drive working or if the hard drive status is there or not. Same thing with the PTZ control. We added a 3D PTZ control where you can left click and drag around or left click and drag and zoom. So it's a 3D PTZ control, and that's an extra configuration or extra feature that we added to our PTZ feature. On top of that, we've added 2 extra features to the image control, which was lens and image adjustment. So now you're able to change white balance features, WDR. You're able to flip the camera in case you accidentally put it upside down or backwards, or if you need to change the angle. the brightness control. All this is for the IP camera. This makes it easier so you don't have to carry a laptop all the time if you're doing an easy setup. It makes you configure the camera a little bit quicker, or for that case, the customer. Digital zoom, like I said before, you can do up to 16 times. The benefit on this one is that you can now select which channels you want to digitally zoom in, either channel 1, channel 2, channel 16 for that matter. This feature is a dwell time that I'll be going out in the live demo, because you're actually able to pre-configure how you want to display each channel view. So you can set up a channel view by the first 5 seconds, show 4 channels, and then the next 5 seconds you can show 16 channels, and then back to 1, and then back to 4. So it allows you a lot of customization for dwell time, if you're familiar with that. Some customers have this on their old GUI. You only had the option of choosing 1, 4, 9, or 16, and that's all you were limited to. And it had to be the same one consistently. But with this feature, now you're able to change it between 1, 4, 8, 16, a special 5, 6, 7, however you want to. This is basically what I was saying. So on your output config, you're able to drag each individual camera into each position, and you're able to group them in different sequences. And this will consider your basically dwell. So your first 5 seconds, you show 16, then you can show 9, then you can show 4, then back to 9, and I believe you can show up to 6 to 8 slides, basically, depending on the size of the unit. If it's a 32 channel, or an 8 or 4 channel. This is what we're talking about for dual stream recording. Dual stream recording is recording both the master stream and substream. The reason why we're doing substream and master stream is because it adds a special feature called time splicing. Time splicing allows you to basically look at an entire video clip and gives you small snapshots, like thumbnails. So if you go to like your pictures on your computer, and you open it up and you see a bunch of thumbnails on it, that's basically what we're adding to the DVR when you're adding playback. This is the reason why we add dual stream recording. It also allows you to play back in their master stream and substream. So if a customer wants to play back from their phone and their bandwidth is too low, like 1 meg or 2 meg upload speed, you can instead play back a 720p or a 1080p resolution and still get a good quality, instead of pushing that master stream that is 5 or 4 megs, which maybe the phone can't handle or their upload speed can't handle. Like I said here, you're allowed to change event and time to record to have different resolutions, different bit rates, and different frame rates. This allows you to customize what type of resolution you want to record. If you want to record full resolution 24/7, and whenever there's motion you don't care and you want it to be substream, or the opposite, where 24/7 you want it to be 720p 1 frames and 1080p when there's whenever there's an alarm trigger, and if there's motion then you put 5 megapixels. So you're able to change resolutions, bit rate, frame rates on 3 different modes depending on which mode you selected to. And this is the option for setting your scheduling. This is only available when you set it to manual recording, which I'll show later in the demo. This, you're able to select each camera, and instead of always copying and pasting, you can actually save a profile. So if you have a big job that you're doing 32 cameras, you do the first 4, you need to set up a schedule, and instead of copying each one, you can now set profiles. Maybe for some reason the customer wants to change cameras 1 through 8 during this month because the customer does this. I wanted to record 24/7, but then the next month I need to record in motion, and back and forth. So it allows you to switch between profiles really easy because it lets you save it on here. On top of that, you can now select which hard drives can record which cameras. So if you have, because the system is backwards compatible to H.264, you can set a 6 terabyte hard drive and you can record all your H.264 cameras. And you can have a 2 terabyte hard drive and record all your H.265. Approximately, this should be about the same date as recording, because H.265 will save your storage space, and you can separate it. So in case one hard drive fails or another hard drive fails, you can manipulate the cameras and state, I want these cameras on this hard drive, these cameras on a different hard drive. That way, in case an information fails, you're not losing the entire set. You're losing only partial. So this is going to be the next step into adding RAID feature, where you're able to customize what cameras go into where and what hard drives group together, basically. This is the feature that I explained to you before, which is time splicing, that basically gives you a thumbnail of every minute, every hour, every day for every camera. And you can choose each one and select or double click by hour or by minute. So when you select the camera, you can select an image. If an example here is there's a cup here with a bunch of pens, the next hour it's gone. So you can either select the hour before or the hour after, and then it'll split it down to 60 photos because it's taking a snapshot for every minute. So for every camera, you'll have one photo for the beginning of the day for each day. When you select that camera, you'll have one photo for every hour for that camera. And then when you select that camera for that hour, you'll have 60 photos that you'll get to pick through, and you get to see the entire image. This is a design that we changed to. I know most of you are familiar with the horizontal playback. We changed it to the vertical playback to keep an aspect ratio. If your customer asks why the playback is sideways, it's because we want to keep the same resolution. This playback is a 4:3 ratio. This doesn't degrade the picture quality, it doesn't adjust picture quality or warp the image. This allows you to keep that 4 megapixel or 5 megapixel at a 4:3 ratio. If we were to move this down here, you would actually have a smaller window to see. So we decided to put this as a bigger window so you have more to see, basically. You still have the option to do full screen and change it to 16:9 in case you need to. From here, if you're still prefer the old school 3.0, you can still do by time or by event, and it still gives you the playback normally here. And it lets you select the time and date you want to play back here if you prefer the old school. You can also select either by event, manuals, motion, select your cameras, and what the feature is, it'll actually give you a quick playback of what you're actually trying to download. So the backup feature has been improved to, instead of the first step of going to search up the camera, and then after go to backup, remember the date and time, and then make sure you back it up to the computer and see that you have an issue, maybe it's the wrong one. You can now just check to see if you're backing up the right one. And if it is, you can quickly go and back up. The other feature we've added is left click, drag, cut, copy, and paste. So our 3.0 feature, the old GUI, you're able to cut 5-minute segments, 3-minute segments, or up to 30-minute segments and save it onto a flash drive. Here, now you're able to drag and drop 2, 3, 4 cameras, whatever you want, and save it immediately using a flash drive. Benefits that we're adding to this is that now you can do it up to 10 times. So compared to other companies like Hikvision or Dahua, you have to stay in the backup screen the entire time. You can't look up other videos because the system is being restricted to back up that system or back up that file. We've allowed you to do multi-threading, which basically allows you to back up the video and then minimize it like a computer and then play back another video. And if you see fit that this is another video that you needed to back up, then you can back up that. And you can do that 10 times. Maybe instead of backing up, you can go to live and let it do its thing. Maybe you need to change some network settings, go around. This is an extra feature that we've added to multi-threading or multi-backup, basically. Some interfaces we've changed around. As you can see, we've added icons instead of verbals, where this is a buzzer, this is a message that will pop up on your screen, or emailing. It's the same configuration, we haven't changed much, we just changed the outlook of it. The same thing with the alarm. We just changed the image. You can add different scheduling, and it still uses the same profile as your recording. The extra feature that we've added here on alarm management is that you can actually find a playback feature. So when you look up on the alarm status, it'll actually give you a quick playback in case you need to see it. All these features that I'm talking about, I'll be showing it up on the demo afterwards. This is under the information status that I told you beforehand, that is under the main menu. That you'll see that it has basic camera status, alarm status, record, network, this. This is all under the live view. And this gives you the full information of what's recording, what's not, if the camera's offline, the network, disk, all that information that maybe your customer wants or that you need to troubleshoot, basically. Under recording status, you can see that some of them are higher resolutions and other ones are lower resolutions because of dual stream recording. This is what, in case customers ask us why is there so many recording, it's because it's recording both master and substream. The hard drive information, if you're familiar with smart information, this is basic information that allows you to do hard drive testing, to troubleshoot your hard drive, to see how well it is, if you need to change it or not. If you're familiar with this, that's great. So Super Live Plus, that's what we called our new phone app. New logo, new design. Hopefully you like it. It's a lot sleeker, smoother. It's connecting under P2P a lot faster than it was before. We've changed some algorithms in it to connect it better. The features on it has been improved to some of your guys' requests, especially because you were trying to compare this over to the other competitors like Hikvision or Dahua. It's, like I said, compatible with H.265 because we designed it to make it work with H.265 and backwards compatible with H.264. Okay. We've added the pinch and zoom on your playback because clicking on the playback, like I said before, just gave you a block, and on some phones you can select it properly. We've added an extra toolbar under landscaping mode. Our old GUI didn't allow you to do that. Once you switched it to landscape, you were restricted from other functions. You had to put it back vertically and then configure whatever functions you needed and then switch it back to landscape. So we've added that feature into landscaping mode. A lot of other things we've done. QR code sharing. If you're familiar with Snapchat, that's basically the same thing that you guys are doing. You can take a snapshot off another customer's phone, or the customer can snap the QR code, and then they can look through their albums and it'll add it to the system automatically. So instead of a customer needing to manually add it or type it in, if the customer has big fingers or maybe it's putting the wrong password, you can just scan the barcode and then off your phone, or you can email it to him or send it to us as a text message. And then if he's off in Hawaii, he can still have his cameras up on his phone. A lot of features we've added a security gesture. Because now the system automatically tries to log into your system or all your systems under live, there's no front menu, basically. There's no login screen. The login screen is the live screen. So we've added a security feature to prevent you from accidentally opening the app and doing something wrong or changing some configuration accidentally. This is a feature that we've added to put compared to our old GUI. Our old GUI had a login menu, and then you click login or you select the DVR and then you log in. Favorites. The favorites allowed you to save certain features and certain views on your phone. And you can either replicate that view. When you load it up, you can tell it to always load up with that certain cameras or certain DVRs for that matter.